Have you ever made a promise you couldn't keep? What if that promise cost you everything you loved? This is the story of a desperate father, a powerful enchantress, and a girl with magical golden hair whose tears could heal the broken. This is the tale of Rapunzel. Once upon a time, a kind husband and his pregnant wife lived in a small cottage next to a tall stone wall. Beyond the wall lay a magnificent garden filled with the most beautiful flowers and vegetables you could imagine. But this was no ordinary garden. It belonged to a powerful enchantress who guarded it fiercely. No one dared enter her domain, for she was known throughout the land for her terrible magic and quick temper. One day, the wife looked out her window and saw the most beautiful Rapunzel plants growing in the enchantress's garden. The leafy greens looked so fresh and delicious that she began to crave them desperately. "I must have some of that Rapunzel," she told her husband, "or I fear I shall waste away." Seeing his beloved wife grow pale and weak, the husband's heart broke. That night, under the cover of darkness, he climbed over the wall and quickly gathered a handful of Rapunzel. His wife made a salad and ate it with great joy. But instead of satisfying her craving, it only made her want more. The next night, the husband climbed the wall again. But as he picked the Rapunzel, a shadow fell over him. "How dare you steal from my garden?" threatened the enchantress, appearing suddenly before him. "You will pay dearly for this theft." The terrified husband fell to his knees. "Please have mercy. My wife is with child and will die without this Rapunzel." The enchantress's eyes gleamed coldly. "Very well, take all the Rapunzel you wish, but when your child is born, you must give her to me." Desperate and frightened, the husband agreed. Months passed and a beautiful baby girl was born with golden hair that seemed to glow like sunlight. The parents' joy was short-lived, for on that very day the enchantress appeared at their door. "The child is mine," she declared. "I shall call her Rapunzel after the plant that brought her to me." Despite their tears and pleas, the parents had no choice. The enchantress took baby Rapunzel in her arms and vanished into the night, leaving the heartbroken couple behind forever. The enchantress raised Rapunzel in a comfortable home, giving her everything she needed: food, clothing, books, and music lessons. Rapunzel grew into a kind, gentle girl with beautiful voice, but the enchantress never let her leave or see other people. On Rapunzel's 12th birthday, the enchantress decided the girl was too beautiful and might attract attention. "I must hide you away where no one can ever find you," she said. That day, she took Rapunzel deep into the forest. In the heart of the forest stood a tall stone tower with no door and no stairs, only a single window at the very top. Using her magic, the enchantress carried Rapunzel up the room at the tower's peak. "This will be your home now," she announced. The room was comfortable enough, with bed, books, and a mirror, but Rapunzel was lonely. She spent her days singing to the birds, painting pictures, and brushing her super long golden hair, which grew longer and longer until it reached all the way to the ground when she let it down from the window. Each day, Enchantress would visit. She would stand below the tower and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel would lower her long golden braid out the window, and the enchantress would climb up, using it as a rope. Years passed. Rapunzel grew into a beautiful young woman, but she remained trapped in her tower, knowing nothing of the world beyond the forest. She would sit by her window, singing sad songs and dreaming of freedom, wondering if she would spend her whole life alone. One day, a young prince was riding through the forest when he heard the most beautiful singing he had ever heard. Following the sound, he discovered the tower. He saw no door, only smooth stone walls. Puzzled, he hid behind the trees to watch. Soon the enchantress arrived. The prince watched in amazement as she called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." He saw the golden braid cascade down and the enchantress climb up. After she left, the prince approached the tower. If that's the way up, he thought, then I shall try it tomorrow. The next day, after the enchantress had gone, the prince stood beneath the tower and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Surprised by the unfamiliar voice, Rapunzel let down her hair anyways. When the prince climbed up through the window, she gasped. She had never seen anyone except the enchantress before. At first, Rapunzel was frightened, but the prince spoke gently, telling her about the beautiful world beyond the forest, about cities and oceans, mountains and stars, families and friends. Rapunzel listened in wonder. The prince visited every day, and they slowly fell deeply in love. "Come away with me," the prince urged. "I'll take you to my kingdom where you'll be free." But how could Rapunzel escape? Together they devised a plan. "Each time you visit, bring me a skein of silk," said Rapunzel. "I'll weave a ladder, and when it's long enough, I'll climb down and we'll ride away together." Every evening the prince brought silk, and every night Rapunzel worked on her secret ladder. During the day the enchantress would visit, suspecting nothing. Rapunzel and the prince dreamed of their future together, freedom, love, and happiness at last. But one day Rapunzel made a terrible mistake. Without thinking, she said to the enchantress, "Why are you so much heavier than the prince who visits me? You're so much harder to pull up." The moment the words left her mouth, she realized her error. The enchantress's face turned purple with fury. "What? You wicked, ungrateful child? After all I've done for you, you've betrayed me?" In her rage, she grabbed Rapunzel's beautiful long hair and snip, snip, cut it off with her magic scissors. "You want the outside world so badly?" The enchantress snarled. "Then you shall have it, with nothing." With a wave of her wand, she banished Rapunzel to a desolate wilderness far away, where the girl would have to survive all alone, without shelter or help. That evening the prince arrived as usual and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The enchantress, waiting with Rapunzel's severed braid, threw it down. The prince climbed up eagerly, only to find the furious enchantress waiting at the window. "You'll never see your precious Rapunzel again," she shrieked. With her magic, she pushed the prince backward out of the tower. He fell, tumbling down, 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 landing in a thorn bush below. The thorns pierced his eyes, blinding him. The prince stumbled away into the forest, calling Rapunzel's name, lost and alone. Years passed. The blind prince wandered from land to land, surviving on berries and kindness from strangers, searching endlessly for Rapunzel. Meanwhile, Rapunzel lived in wilderness, surviving through determination and the skills she'd learned from her books. Though life was hard, she never gave up hope. One day, the prince's wanderings brought him to the very wilderness where Rapunzel lived. As he stumbled through the desolate land, weak and weary, he heard something that made his heart leap, a familiar voice singing a sad, beautiful song. "Rapunzel," he called out, "is it truly you?" Rapunzel heard his voice and ran towards the sound. When she saw him, blind, ragged but alive, she threw her arms around him, weeping with joy. "My love, I've found you at last." As Rapunzel held the prince close, her tears of joy fell upon his blind eyes. And then a miracle. The tears, filled with the power of true love, healed his eyes. The prince blinked, and slowly his vision returned. The first thing he saw was Rapunzel's face, more beautiful than he remembered. Hand in hand, Rapunzel and the prince travelled to his kingdom, where they were married with great celebration. Rapunzel was finally free, free to explore the world, to love and be loved, and to live the life she always dreamed of. As for the enchantress, she was never seen again, and Rapunzel and the prince lived happily ever after, their love proving that patience, courage, and staying true to your heart can overcome any obstacle. So what can we learn from Rapunzel's tale? First, be careful what promises you make in desperate times. The father's bargain, though made from love, cost his family dearly. Sometimes the price we agree to pay is far greater than we imagine. Second, trying to control others through fear and isolation will only lead to loneliness. The enchantress had everything: magic, power, and a beautiful child to raise, but her need to control destroyed it all. In the end, she lost Rapunzel forever. Third, never lose hope, even in the darkest moments. Rapunzel spent years trapped in the tower, but she never stopped dreaming of freedom. The prince wandered blind and alone, but he never stopped searching. Their patience and determination brought them back together. And finally, true love has the power to heal what seems broken beyond repair. Rapunzel's tears don't just restore the prince's sight, they symbolized how genuine love, compassion, and staying true to your heart can overcome any obstacle. Remember, no matter how tall the tower, how dark the forest, and how impossible the situation seems, courage, hardness, and hope can set you free. Your circumstances don't define you, your choices do. And that is the limitless wisdom of Rapunzel. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe for more tales every week. See you in the next trail.